Okay, welcome back. This is another video where I'm going to discuss perspective drawing. The videos we've looked at in the past, I've talked about 1-point perspective. Today I'm going to talk about 2-point perspective. I'm going to say what the differences are. Okay, so your task is to select a building, or if you're feeling ultra confident, a series of buildings, perhaps a street or a high street shopping centre, something like that. And you select it, and then you are going to sketch it out in 2-point perspective. I do realise that some of you have been drawing art. For art, you've been drawing your house. So if you don't want to do your house again, that's absolutely fine. But as I say, select a building and draw it in 2-point. And I'm going to explain the differences between 1-point and 2-point, and I'm going to have a little demo. I'm going to draw the school. So this is a picture of our school, regular picture, and then like before, I've put the lines on top. Okay, growing up, I loved watching The Simpsons, as most people my age probably did. And this was a joke that was particularly well done, I thought. Well, as a tech teacher, I think so anyway, where Ned Flanders is walking down his newly constructed corridor it's like a shoddily built house. And as he's walking down, you think he's going to go off into the distance, and he says, oh, something is definitely wrong with this hallway, and it's a joke, isn't it? It looks like it's going off into the distance, but actually it suddenly becomes really small, and he opens this tiny door and Barney's behind it. So I've used that as an example because every time I see that, I think, well, that's a really... Maybe you have to be a tech teacher to appreciate it fully, but teaching this subject, I really like how they did this silly little joke here. So I thought I'd put that in. And of course, as I am saying, a corridor isn't actually getting smaller as it goes off into the distance. We all know that, okay? We put a point. Now, this is the vanishing point where all the lines go in. It is generally your eye level. So if I'm standing, this is the height of me. This is if my eyes are here, I'm looking straight, and that is what I'm going to be seeing, okay? If I was kneeling down, this vanishing point would move into a different position, and these lines would come in more more this way, okay? And just to recap, we had a go at using a science classroom, and I talked about, there's the vanishing point, I left it in, and we've got the lines going in, okay? So that's 1-point. 2-point is where you have all of the lines going off into one direction over here, but you also have another one that's going off the page, in this case, over here, okay? And I've just taken some photos just to kind of emphasize this point. If this was a 1-point perspective drawing, I'm only looking at this side of the front of the school, all of these lines will be going off into the distance. And in fact, I've put that on top there just so we can see, okay? And you can see the point is somewhere just off the page about there. Okay, the building isn't getting smaller, like Ned Flanders' house. They are just going off into the distance like so. If you had this side of the building, however, you would then have to do different lines, and you'd have to have another point going off that way. Okay, so that's that. I've got some other examples from around the school. I've tried to use the school because we're all quite familiar with it. Okay, again, these lines would be going off into this direction. These lines here would be going off into this direction. And I've done it again. I've done that. You can see they all come off here, including the windows, the doors, all of these elements. If this sign was exactly parallel with this building, those lines, but I think it's a bit off. This is pointing slightly off, so they might not be quite right, but they would all go off as well, okay? But this building, even like the air conditioner unit, and as I say, if you were to look at the individual bricks, if you were to go into that much detail, they would all go off, all lines going off on that side, these lines all going off on that side, okay? So I want you to select a building or a series of buildings, okay? The slight issue I had with our school is that most of the school is only 1 story tall. If you can pick a building with multiple stories, you get more lines and you can get a more impressive drawing, okay? But I've just got some examples here. This is the music block. Again, we can just see all lines going off exactly the same as before, all lines going off this way. Okay, so hopefully you get the idea with that.